You are now tapped in with the Hood Mystic.
You are now tapped in with
Peace to the family. Hopefully everything is well. Everything is well. Great rising to the family. We are here, man. Hood in the morning, the week of June 14th. And today we'll be talking about the sun. Do it is based upon the accuracy of it, based upon the reality of it. And one of the deeper understandings that I do have is that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, meaning that I'm a non-physical vessel that inhabits the physical body. And I feel like these ideas can't be said or stressed enough, because it's one thing for me to say it, a whole different thing for you to tune it and then integrate it and apply it for your relationship. So this video specifically is for those who have the hustle mentality. I said the hustle mentality, but I really meant to say the hunter's mentality. Hunter, hustle, probably the same energy. But the overall idea is that we have 24 hours to integrate or disintegrate. And my idea and goals for us is that we begin to integrate all of the aspects of ourselves, our non-physical and our physical, so we can become whole and not holy. So throughout this conversation, ask yourself, are you a hunter? Are you ready to, as they say in the sales world, eat what you kill? Or even deeper, do you want to pack up and deal with other hunters? But the thing about being a hunter is that you got to carry your own weight. You can't be living off what the next man is hunting. See, this is the deeper reality that moving into 2021 and even into 2022, you're going to have to develop these deeper skills. And another thing that I want to say is that when I get into this conversation, you will easily project this on people in church, people in mosques, people in the Jewish temples, the Jehovah's Witness, and things of that nature. But the main point is that everybody has a religion. Whether you know it or not, whether you honor it or not, there's some form of ignorance, there's some form of faith. And even though this thing actually exists in the real world, we have yet to tap into it or actually understand the realities that there lie within what is religion in its truest sense, if it does exist, and how do we tap into it. One of the main reasons for this conversation is to get people to specifically tap into the religion of truth, the religion of consciousness, and the religion of bliss. So we're gonna start our conversation off with the word religion. Everyone has a religion. Whether you pull tarot cards, whether you pray to Jesus, whether you read scientific journals, listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson podcasts, or you pull up to Creflo Dollar's church. The idea of religion is based upon a trust, and it's based upon a communication. As a success in life, you may have a bad religion, and then we might have to cue that Frank Ocean and tap into it. So I want to juxtapose two opposites to come to a reality or a deeper understanding in reference to, give me 1 second. I want to juxtapose two things. Religion, Orthodox religion, and sex. Going to church versus having sex. Now, what they do say is that God is a creator. But what we do know is that sex is an act of creation. So what is the true form of creation? Would it be praying to a particular deity? Or would it be actually copulating with masculine and feminine energy, setting your sperm into an egg and watching that energy percolate and perturbate for over 9 months and grow and then develop something? Now, is it a spiritual process, something as small as a seed being placed into the earth, being watered, nurtured, and cultivated? See, that is a miracle to me. How does a little seed become something to which I can eat later? All I take is a little bit of understanding. See, that is true faith to me. That is true holiness, right? And that is something that I do not understand. That is something that I cannot manipulate. So what I'm saying is, in reference to religion versus reference to sex, you might say that religion is good and sex is bad. But how have you ever, what is the modality for you to understand sex? What if I told you that sex isn't a physical act more than it is a spiritual act? That it references your esoteric capabilities, that it references your spiritual capabilities. It ties in your spiritual understanding. So it's not to say that anybody can have sex, but have you made your sexual art and your sexual energy that of a religious experience where you have sound, you have sight, you have smells, you have taste, you have a complete religious utter environment to where you making love passionately for hours under candlelight with an intention, over and under a sigil. And as you guys tap into levels of passion and levels of pleasure, y'all reflect on y'all intention through sigil making. See, that would be Taurian success. The same way as a person would pray to God for a new house, pray to God for a new car. And generally, you may or may get it. When you do sexual work and altar work, you may or may not get it. With all life, there is no guarantee. There is no guarantee that the sun will shine today. It may be cloudy, but that doesn't mean that I do not plant a garden for the fact that it may be a drought. We may get more water than we're expected. It may be a flood. See, there's no guarantees in life, but yet and still, as human beings, we have a constitution. We have a set of principles. We have a divine aesthetic. And that divine aesthetic, it works for us. So before we deny our religion, before we deny our sexual energy, the point of this conversation is to learn how to combine these two things. Because the idea is not to tap into a level of holiness, it is to tap into a level of wholeness. Double splash on you, double splash on you. Now, the thing about death is that we all experience it. So that means the irony of life is that the nun who never had sex versus the prostitute who had sex 7 times a day meet the same end and end up at the same place. So the goal is not to find one extreme and represent another extreme. The goal is to look at these extremes and find a balance within it and find something that works for you. But ultimately, when you are in the space of creation, when you're in the space of God, you find that space through sexual energy. But once again, if you had a contest on manifestation, and you had one person on their knees praying like this with their hands clasped, and then you had another person who was masculine energy, and then you had another person who was feminine energy, and you told both of those people, you two energies have the same exact intention. I want you to bind to this intention through the process of love making. Who is going to get their manifestation quicker? The person who is on their knees praying to the air, praying to God, whatever, I'm not disrespecting a religion. I'm just saying he's praying to his God or her God. And that's right and exact. I'm not disrespecting that. But I'm giving you another alternative to assisting you in your prayer or your communication to your divine source. It might serve you to be in a space of action over a space of just simply hoping and wishing for things to change for you. So let's tap into the energies of the Hierophant, because the Hierophant rules the energy of Taurus. If you look at this card in the bottom sort of right hand corner, more to the center, right next to the T in Hierophant, you will see a sigil. That sigil is the sign of Taurus. And if you look at the other slide that I'm showing you, you will see the sun at the edge of the Taurian energy. And this is representing the end of the Sidereal Taurus transit. There are practices on how to ground sexual energy, but the best place to ground sexual energy is in the mode of communication. And this is where we enter into the realms of the sun and Gemini, where we communicate our sexual energy. Because the idea of our sexual energy is that it's in shadow. It's in darkness. We want to have sex with the lights off, right? We just want to have it, get it over with, because it's a bodily function and we don't fully understand its power and its magnitude. And that's based upon our idea of knowing what sex is. So a person told me on my Instagram right before I got on this live that, that the media promotes sex. And generally I would agree with that. But then I started, after this shadow work, I'm actually thinking, like, do they actually promote sex, or do they actually promote a lower form of sex? Almost to the point of like unconscious sexual practices versus conscious sexual practices. And then we're looking at these two things as if they're the same thing. Okay, since this person is having sex unconsciously, then sex then is bad and damaging because it's unconscious. But with that being said, and that being true, there is a level of conscious sexual energy to which I can have a conversation about my shadow. And once I have this conversation that I need to have, is based upon a level of it being a spiritual understanding. Like, this is my God force energy, to which they show up in church every Sunday, not to necessarily have sex, but to talk. The preacher is talking, the ushers are talking, the congregation is talking, singing, they're communicating. To which, imagine us having dialogues like this every Sunday about our sexual energy, unadulterated, deeper aspects, understanding our archetypes. Well, I'm a polyamorous, I'm a polygamous, I'm a monogamous, and there's no shame, there's no shade, because you understand your archetype, you know the type of love and the type of relationships that better suit you. So, no, mainstream media doesn't talk about sex like we think we do. They degrade sex and put sex into a particular box. So when we discuss the shadow aspects, meaning the hidden aspects of it, most people that you run across will be none the wiser. So the idea then, in real life, when you're meeting girls or meeting guys, is best to have communications in reference to sexual energy and see if there's a way that we can make this particular thing sacred. And even deeper, can we give our sexual energy up to the deity that brought us together? Especially if you catching a vibe, right? You catching a vibe. I like this person. I love this person even. This person is cool. Well, there's an energy or an ancestor or a deity that brought you two together. And so your ignorance on this actual fact will be the disrespect of your relationship, because if you two don't understand the energy that brought you together, then there is shadow projection in the space that one of the partners may think that they're just hot shit. Right? But like in the chat, give me a confirmation. Have you ever been with somebody and you're saying to yourself, I don't necessarily know why I'm with this person, but I really do like this person? To which, if that's the case, then it might be an energetic overseer or an ancestral connection that you two are playing out. So these are all of the things that shadow work help us deal with. But in essence, religion, or to bind, or to actually connect with somebody, is the preparation for essential love-making processes. Because once again, if you go into a relationship and you don't know why in the hell this relationship has occurred, I'm gonna tell you why. There is a spiritual energy that is bringing you in contact with that person, because there are billions of people. We literally could collide and crash into people. Pow, 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 pow. However, we don't. We find streamlined connections to people who fit us astrologically. If you were to do the synastry on that person, if you were to tap into their ancestry, you would get into so many coincidences. But honestly, we can't honestly say that there's a such thing as coincidences. We can just only imagine that there is such thing as coincidences. But the reality of truth is that there's a spiritual undertone that we're not actually paying attention to. And this is the idea of religion, to which, if we begin to honestly and sincerely pay attention to the non-physical energy, I need you guys to walk with me and understand this, so you'll never, ever, ever experience negative relationships again in your life. Never, ever, ever will you ever experience a negative experience in your life, because the first thing that you do is vest yourself into your non-physical state of being, your consciousness, your awareness. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Who the fuck is my body in the video, The Mayan Mystic, right? A couple of weeks ago. My body, who is my? My is the consciousness that possesses this energy. So there you go from Aries, the initiative and birth, to the consciousness of Taurus. That's, if you have a 2-year-old, which I do have, everything is theirs. They possess everything. It's their car, it's their ride, it's their toys, it's their car seat, everything is theirs, because we're learning this possessive nature that is massive. But then as humans, the next step as parents, we say, little tink tink, that ain't yours, that's your brother's. Little man, that ain't yours, that's your mama's, right? You can't possess all of this, to which what the little child is actually saying is trying to possess himself. Once again, this gets so very deep, but I need us to kind of take a slow walk into understanding that who is my? You can get a clear understanding of my, because you say my body. You don't say I'm body. I'm body went into the hospital. No, you say my body went into the hospital. So once again, once we come down here, so now we're into the realms of law of attraction. And if you're not driving, I need you to close your eyes, because you have to visualize this. Before birth, you existed as pure consciousness. Once your mother and father, which you are the spirit that connected and streamlined, you are the ancestor that connected and streamlined, you are the soul that connected and streamlined your parents to be together. Now, this could have been in the space of them getting married, or you could have connected your mom to hook up with your dad on a sneaky link. But whatever the organization was, you set that whole situation up so you could incarnate. So everything that has happened thus far to this moment right here in your life has been set up by you as non-physical consciousness energy. The point of the matter of this moment right now today, if you're tuned in listening to this message, regardless of how many views this video got, wondering how much or wondering what the fuck I'm doing in my life, don't worry about what I'm doing in my life. The point of this video is for you to specifically tune into your non-physical conscious energy. Because the reality of me is that I'm a hunter. But I don't hunt for y'all. I hunt for my family. I can teach you how to hunt for your family, but you're going to have to actually get the bow and arrow and start, getting some bison and things of that nature. But the reality of being a hunter is the reality of my ability to just sense the world in my environment. And the only way that I sense the world in my environment is by tapping into my non-physical energy. And why do I want to tap into my non-physical energy? Because my non-physical energy has existed before I was born. And once this body and vessel dies, my non-physical energy will continue to live again. This is the format and the formation to all successful relationships. The idea of you forgetting this and not acknowledging this is the onset to everything negative that possibly could happen, because everything negative has to happen, even death after death after death after death, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, until you realize that you are not the body for which you incarnated into. You hearing it, but you need to integrate that. You need to, if you don't hear nothing else that comes out of my mouth ever in life, you need to hear what I'm saying in that aspect. You are a non-physical spiritual entity. And this is how you attract all things, because your natural energy, left alone to his own devices, you ended up in a sneaky link. How did I end up in this sneaky link? How did I end up with these kids? If you would have left it up to me, I would have never had children. Never decided to think I wanted children. However, that wasn't up to me. That was a spiritual process. And then the actual maintaining and culturing and nurturing of this spiritual process is giving me my enlightenment. Once again, we're tuning in to our ancestors because our ancestors are us on the same path, on the same train. But ultimately, this is what people are not going to want to talk about on YouTube in the spiritual community. What is the sexual aspect to our relationship? Are you sexually attracted to me? This for men and women, because a lot of times it's shadow in man and man relationships that don't nobody want to talk about. How many of y'all sexually attracted to y'all homeboys? How many sexually attracted to y'all homegirls and y'all friends, but y'all can't really have a conversation in reference to your sexual attraction? To which, who knows where it's going to lead? Who knows where it's going to head? That's not up to me to decide. But if you got these energies and understandings within yourself, it's best to bring them forth. And at the very least, somebody will tell you, get the fuck up out of my face, to which you will stop wasting your time and energy being around somebody who wouldn't even reciprocate your deeper desires. To which, if you can't communicate your deeper desires in your intimate relationships, that's not an intimate relationship, that is a prison. Because your job down here is to co-create. No matter what you said about life, no matter what you say about the presidents, no matter what you say about technology, science, and math, and energy, and building, and all of this type of energy, when it's all said and done, when the dark time come, no matter if we was in a village or we was in a high rise, in a loft apartment, in a penthouse in Manhattan somewhere, we was getting some buns. We was hunter-gatherers getting buns, and we was at the top of the food chain getting buns. Ultimately, the thread that weaves life and civilization, the thing that creates life for which we stand in, is sex. But let's have a conversation on the intricacies and the ins and outs on sex. We none the wiser. Now tell me, in my mind, that don't make no sense at all. In my mind, that blows my fucking mind. How is it that this is the thing that we want to do, but we don't have no communication on it because we don't even understand why that's even happening? And even more so, we think that we're hot shit. And I'm telling you, in them rice fields in China, guess what they doing? Bumping uglies. And they not Megan Thee Stallion looking or Lori Harvey looking. It be working on the rice field. You know how Chinese ladies give it up? They be looking like teenage boys sometimes, and that's cool if you into that type of deal. But the reality is that they getting it on in the rice fields. Because if they wasn't getting it on, it wouldn't be no people. That's the clear indication. Is there people here? There's people here. Oh, some fucking is going down. Is y'all talking about it? Nope. If we talk about sex now, oh hood, you weird. You weird. I'm uncomfortable. I don't know why you talking about sex, but this is how you was created. And if you don't get past the sexual part, if you don't get past this religion part, you do not get to the law of attraction. Because you were actually incarnated here through this process. And then you're not even the end of the line. You're just a cog in the wheel. Stop putting yourself in such an important space, because me personally, I'm just doing the work that my ancestors set out to do. Once I tuned into my ancestors and start working with my ancestors, they gave me a whole complete different mission to which I thought individually I was supposed to pursue. I say this all the time because this is my truth. I've figured me to be a truck driver, getting me a CDL A because I had the CDL B. I was going to buy me some trucks and just hit the road. And when I was doing it, I was like, Spirit was like, you're not going to be doing this for too much longer. And I just was so attached to my ego, attached to my ignorance, that I couldn't never see that the ancestors had a different plan for me, a different play for me. I thought that my ancestors was a figment of my imagination, but then I started to tune in and tap into the mounds and listen and tap into Gnostic studies and tap into the Kabbalah and tap into this and tap into astrology and learn. My brain became a sponge. And as I was absorbing this information, this was all tools and fuels for the energy that I'm displaying in this present moment. See, my ancestors had a plan for me that I did not know, meaning that the things that I'm doing now is not of me. It would have never been of me. I would be at the strip club right now. It's the matinee. It's about to be 11. Tatalicious is coming up to the stage. Why do I want to be sitting here talking this hot spiritual mumbo jumbo to y'all? But this is what my ancestors want me to do, and I'm safe in this place because I'm still a baby. I'm still learning. I'm still understanding who and what my ancestors want from me. So I want you to understand that you may think that you know where your life is headed, but I guarantee you haven't tuned in and tapped into your ancestors incessantly. Prioritizingly. Is that a word? If it's not a word, we just made up one. Prioritizingly. It's an adverb. Meaning that we are prioritizing our ancestors as a lifestyle. What you doing? Prioritizingly, my ancestors? Okay. You in the right vibration. You in the right proper frequency. Everything is going right for you. Once again, your ancestors are non-physical entities that have transitioned out of the physical body, but they did not die. Their body died. I don't care who it is. I don't care how much you love them. I don't care how much you talk to them. I don't care how close you are to them. They are not dead. If you think they're dead, you're dead because you are ignorant to consciousness. If you're ignorant to consciousness, you're ignorant to truth. And if you live your life ignorant to truth, you good as dead. That's why the living are more dead than the actual dead. Because we never die. Because we're always non-physical entities and energies. We're always non-physical. This is the truth. If it's not the truth, why would you see a corpse laying on the ground inanimated? How do that make sense? That thing just gone. What left? The body's still there. We look at the corpse. But what has happened? What has changed? What has disappeared? What is left? The non-physical energy for which that has animated that corpse. But the non-physical energy that has animated that corpse did not die. If anything, it has been absorbed into your DNA. But if you're not in tune and tapped into these particular thought frequencies and thought waves, you might be looking at a corpse imagining that that person is dead. That is ignorant. But that's a majority of humanity. That's everybody in your family. 99% of everybody in your family thinking that the ancestors is dead. The reality is that we all need to rejoice and stay in a state of jubilee, but we don't understand the mysteries of sex. We don't understand how sex is a religious act. We think that sex is a demonstrative, diminutive act, but at the same time, you will get a goddamn reading about your relationship. Meaning that you would tap into the spiritual modalities to figure out the intricacies of your relationship as if the stars is peering down into your relationship, wanting that shit to work out. Meaning that the reality of your relationship is a matter of bliss or not. I'm gonna say it again, ladies, gentlemen, your reality of your relationship is a matter of bliss or not. And don't be confused when the relationship is not of bliss and it don't work out. Because that was a choice that you could have made. You could have honored the deity and the entity that brought you together and then celebrated and rejoiced and been in jubilee because you have something that a majority of people will never have. You have found love. But you had it and it's gone. You couldn't find it. You can't even buy it now. You can't even buy it. It's gone. That nigga gone. That girl gone. It's over with. Over. You hope that you find it in another person, but good luck. And I don't know the reading. I don't personally have the reading to bring love into your life. I can teach you how to love yourself through understanding yourself, investing yourself in truth outside of investing yourself in ignorance. Everything that I say is based upon a spiritual experience. My testimony is very simple. I was walking up and down Broad Street in the middle of summer looking for a job. That's the last thing I remember. And then I got swept away into my ancestors leading me through working. So, I'm going to read something. The Hierophant points to being tapped in. This is from esotericmeanings.com in reference to the Hierophant, which is the energy that rules this Taurus energy. And we're just doing the Taurus send-off this week, because next week we'll be moving into the energies of Sidereal Gemini. And now we got to really tap into our love energy. Now we got to tap into our communication energy. And if we don't find that shit within ourselves, then we going to be on some projection shit and hoping that people are perfect in order for us to move forward. But the reality is that you'll run into a majority of people who will never be perfect. But if you waiting for that perfect situation, that perfect person, oh my God. Mama read. The Hierophant points to being tapped into the sacred mysteries and esoteric facts. The Hierophant gives spiritual advice that leads to positive growth. The cosmic law does not have a human bias. The Hierophant represents teachings through books, internet, spiritual study, classes, and physical masters on the earth plane. And so I just want to take a small commercial break to let you guys know that Chakra Nova is available for sale at ColumbianExchange.com. It is the best book on chakras and chakra activation, filled with tips, tricks, and tools to activate each and every chakra and understand why you need to do it. It tells you how to activate your chakras in a subsequent flow, and it taps into your personal body. The message of Chakra Nova is specifically tied into you being the book. This is the last book you'll ever need, because then you'll understand that it is you that needs to read yourself. And once you get yourself tuned in and tapped in to your 7 chakras, guess what? We got the School of Sexual Science. 11 exclusive lessons in sexual energy and sexual techniques that can be shared from man to woman, or woman to woman, or man to man. I don't know. However y'all getting down in y'all bedrooms is not my concern, won't never be my concern. I just hope that you happy and you enjoying your sexual experience. This is why we have those tips at the end of the book. But honestly, work through the book with your partner. Buy 2 books. Buy one for you. Buy one for your partner. Buy a journal for you. Buy a journal for your partner. Work through the book together. Activate y'all chakras together. And then make love. I guarantee you, you will have a blissful experience with your partner. Now, you could beat that dude down for money. You could hope that she lose weight. 10 times out of 10, y'all ain't gonna get what y'all want. However, if y'all both understand that y'all are spiritual energy, spiritual beings having a human experience, the relationship works out like hotcakes in a hoagie. I don't know what Bobby be saying. When he say something that works, you know, like a homeless man with a hoagie, he be saying something to that effect. Also, shadow work signs up is still taking place. I want to say right now that the sign up space is limited, so please sign up now if you haven't signed up already. If you wait to the last minute, the class will be sold out. However, you could purchase the resale, but you know, I know you want to be present for the vibes and things of that nature. We're going to be at an Airbnb. Me and Mama Mystic just tapped into our shadow, no kids, just tapped in and tuned in to the frequency. I'm trying to go 4 to 5 hours with this lecture. That's why I'm starting it early, because if this joint go to 8 o'clock, I'm deleting my Zoom cloud. I want unlimited energy and information to be transmitted in reference to the shadow. I'm leaving no rock unturned. I want you to leave the class with the understanding of knowing the work that it takes to find your shadow. Okay, and we'll talk about shadow work a little bit later in this broadcast. But you know me, I gotta pay the bills. Don't think that I'm on here. I do love y'all, but understand that I'm here as a work, as a service. This is my full-time job, and I'm in my Hummer mentality. Not a Hummer mentality. I'm in my Hunter mentality. But once again, Chakra Nova, Columbian Exchange, shadow work. The link will be in the bio, or visit Alchemic Academic, or DM me for any information. Give me 1 second. DM me for any additional questions, comments, or concerns. And please, if you have business questions, do not ask them on the YouTube chat. Please DM me on Instagram or send me an email, because I'm not going to answer on the YouTube chat. Peace. So, in Hindu philosophy, there's a concept called Ananda. And growing up, it was a TV show called Teen Summit. And they had this girl on there. Her name was Ananda Lewis. Now, as a youth, I ain't know what they was talking about on Teen Summit. All I know is that Ananda was on there. And I would just watch that show just to look at her. And then when they took Ananda off, maybe have different hosts. I don't ever want to see no other hosts. I don't want to see the old dude with the bald head or no, like, show Ananda. Ananda need to be on TV today. We need more Ananda Lewis in our life. But I digress. Later on into my spiritual studies, I came across the term Ananda again. And Ananda means bliss. And bliss represents the ultimate and pleasure and satisfaction. There's two things about this. One, you gotta want bliss. And two, you gotta be bliss. I'm gonna say that again. One, you gotta actually want bliss. And two, you gotta be bliss. You couldn't want bliss out of me and you can't give me bliss. This is the ultimate of creation and understanding and love making. However, I want you to understand this internally as long as it takes. When you have negative thoughts, when you have self-destructive thoughts, move away from whatever you're feeling and tune into your non-physicalness that rests within your solar plexus chakra. Understand this truth, to which it begins to create a feeling within your body, within your being. Even more so, let's tune in and tap into that time that you was meditating, and for some reason, you did it right this time. You let go and you was pure consciousness and your body was somewhere back at the house and you was in Mars and Jupiter. Or when you in your astral body, or when you dreaming. You ever get woke up for a dream and you miss that feeling that you was just experiencing? That feeling that you're experiencing is Ananda or bliss, but it's deeply connected to our consciousness. In that meditation, the feeling that you were feeling was your consciousness, and your consciousness feels fucking great. Can we get that in the chat? My consciousness feels great. And if you want to put fucking in there, add a little emphasis. But I need us to understand this as we move into more spiritual shadow work thoughts, because the purpose of my course is to bring about positivity in your life by removing negativity, not ignoring it, not imagining that it's not there, but understanding that your consciousness, you're not giving them the $10,000 a month. You're not giving them the high value man. You're not giving them none of that. You're giving them your consciousness. This is why you could be kind of fat and wear glasses and things of that nature, be socially awkward, but girls would be throwing their panties on the YouTube screen. Like, I can see you throwing the panties on the YouTube screen, but the reality is you don't want my body, you want my consciousness, but you have to share your consciousness with me. Because this is the conversation that I'm bringing forth. This is the conversation that I'm initiating. This is the spark that I'm lighting in your mind. But give it some time to warm you up. Don't just open up the door and let anybody in and get this heat. Deal with this heat, deal with this consciousness enough till you understand the blissful understandings of you. How you make someone feel. Okay? Because once again, establishing this energy within yourself is not going to change Roro from down the street. It's not going to change your husband. It's not going to change your wife. It's not going to change your mama. It's not going to change your daddy. It's not going to change your brother. It's not going to change your kids. It's only going to change you. But the beauty of it is that you know without a shadow of a doubt what is a positive relationship that leads to success, that leads to ultimate benefits, is when that person, without a shadow of a doubt, can hold space in the meditative space. Okay, let's meditate together. You get into your Nam-Re Hyun-Ko, he pulling out his dick. And you like, wait a second, I thought we was meditating, doing a little tantra understanding. He's like, yeah, I thought we was going to have sex and do it. No, this is not what I'm talking about. Keep y'all pants on for a second and communicate about y'all sexual energy. More or less establish a conversation in reference to your sexual energy. Can you express to your partner, I'm wet right now. I'm thinking about you and it's making me horny and things of that nature. Why? I wonder why that is. I don't know. It's something about your hands. It's something about your arm. Whatever the case may be. A deep, intricate conversation on to what turns you on. What about your partner turns you on? You'd be like, well, he pays the rent on time, hood. That's about it. Like, oh, okay, I get it. So we're outside of Ananda. We're outside of bliss. We're outside of consciousness. We're outside of truth. We're somewhere far, 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 far away to establishing positive relationships because we do not understand ourselves as being non-physical energy. First, before death and after life. We think that the middle part, which is our life, is the all in all of our experience. My mama left me. I had some horrible shit happen to me in my life. Please do not give me your sob stories. Because I don't care. Because if I wanted to come on here and give sob stories, I would have a sob story channel. Because the endless amounts of conscious information that I have endless amounts of sob stories, for which I do not resonate or vibrate on that particular frequency any longer. I have no sympathy for your lack of ignorance in reference to your consciousness. When your consciousness rests within your body, you experience your consciousness when you wake and sleep. You are your consciousness before you were ever even, Jessica Jenkins. Jessica Jenkins is an illusion. Whatever happens to Jessica Jenkins is not even worth talking about, especially bringing negative emotions into the energies that block you from seeing your true self. So what meditation and what realization and what deeper inner work could you do to begin to see yourself and see your power? And then when you have conversations with young ladies, do not be put in the friend zone if you in love with them. Just leave them alone. What I'm saying is, if you in love, be in love. If they not in love, don't deal with them. Because a lot of women that think that you they friend and you really not they friend. You really madly in love with them and want to be with them, but they'll take it as you just want to have sex. So in the space of dealing with women, you have to understand, I'm talking to the guys who like women, you have to actually deal with your spiritual energy first. To the point that you may not ever have to approach or address a woman ever again if you vest in your consciousness and your truth. Because the other side of this is that you stick out like a sore thumb. It's probably like 10 individuals on the earth who've sat with themselves and realized themselves as consciousness. 99.99999% of human beings identify themselves with how successful their business is, how good they look, how successful their marriage is, how big their house is, how new their car is. To which, if we got into the bare bones essence of consciousness, what you would then to find out, most people don't even have it. These motherfuckers is out here living like goddamn robots, and you would never even notice it because you thinking everybody like you. Talking to the guys. But if you have a soul, if you have a consciousness, you in tune to it, and it'll listen, and it'll tell you, nigga, work out. It'll tell you, you need to start studying these Forex markets so you can understand it, so you can start making some money. It'll tell you, you need to start writing a book. You need to start learn how to write a book. You need to work out. Work out again. You worked out earlier, work out again. Just keep working out. Just work out. You know what? Work out. Tired of you. That's my higher self talking to me. But I digress. Now, once again, we're talking about establishing bliss in your relationships without a shadow of a doubt. We're talking about establishing success in your relationship without a shadow of a doubt. And I'm just holding the space of the things that your pastor should have told you but never did. Because at the same time, your pastor said you should never be having sex. At the same time, pastor, then how did I ever come into existence? My mama wasn't married. My daddy wasn't married. You telling me that the only people that can have sex are the people that's married? Well, none of us would have ceased to exist if that was the case. Not none of us, but a large percentage of us, to which there's something else going along that the pastor is not aware of. It's the sexual energy that as soon as this church service is over, you about to link up and go into another sneaky link. You just came off a sneaky link on Saturday. But nothing is better than the sneaky link after church. Especially it's summertime, the sun is shining, you got on your best clothes. And the way that they be dressed in the church, they be dressing like they going to the club. Like, no lie. The same clothes that you wear to the club now, you can then keep that thing still on, men or women, and go into church. And they joke about this stuff. Oh, you can't leave the club and go to church. Why not? Why it ain't hold on. We need to change the game. It's 2021. We need a club right next door to the church so we can leave out the front of the club right into the front of the church. Then black people, like, we gotta be real about ourselves. Take the dude that we was kicking it with, dancing with, grinding with, she was dirty whining you on the dance floor, take her ass up into church so y'all can get some holy water doused on y'all before y'all connect to y'all sneaky link. Maybe then, just maybe, we might have some balance in the black community. I'm just saying. So the opposite, though, which creates negative situations, which creates confusion, is when two bodies get together. Two bodies who shadow project their perfect images on what they want out of a relationship. Meaning that never matches. That never, like Jesus not at the club. I thought Jesus was everywhere. Jesus is everywhere. Jesus in the trap house. Jesus is at the brothel. Jesus is at the club. Jesus is at church. Jesus is everywhere. Jesus is all things. So we can't just say Jesus is only vested within the pastor and the preacher and the preacher's wife and things of that nature. No, we all are the congregation. We all are the body of Christ. What's up? This part of the body want to go to the club. Who coming with me? Okay, we there. Tuned in and tapped in. You know what I'm saying? Because at a point, you're establishing truth. But then at another point, you're realizing that my goal is to be holy. Not Holy, but Howhole. Whole. Not holiness, but wholeness. So if you like twerking the Megan Thee Stallion, don't come to church and be like, hey, throwing that Yolanda Adams. Oh, you got some you got some BB or CC up in there? No, and damn well when you get into the car, you ever sitting in the car about to turn your car on, pastor say, hey, Sister Jenkins, you're like, body yada yada, you can turn it down real quick. Hey, pastor, that was a great service that we had. Yeah, I hear that Megan Thee Stallion girl, you ain't fooling nobody. But I was saying about that sneaky link later. Because ain't nobody getting more pussy than the pastors, and then we wonder why. Because sex and religion are closely related. I repeat that. Ain't nobody getting more pussy per capita than the pastors of America. Every woman, the churches is filled with women, and let's say a prayer for the pastor's wife. She needed, let's send all of the pastor's wife positive energy. Because you got a good man if he a pastor and he just turning down pussy left and right. Especially y'all coming to the club, y'all coming to church looking like y'all at the club. Ain't no pastor that strong. So let's give some ashe to the wife of the pastor. Cause I be doing this shit. I'm telling y'all truthful shit. Like in this space, the dudes that talk the way that they be talking in the reference to spiritual, it turned women on. I don't know why. Like, you could be the bustiest, rustiest, dustiest. Start talking to little shocker this and shocker that. She'd be, I don't know. You talk about shockers and my panties getting wet. Just keep talking about that shocker and that spirituality, because some about it is working for me down here. So yeah, meditation. Okay. Like, shit don't be about nothing at the end of the day. Because we don't understand the power of, we not making our sexual energy sacred. We're looking at it as two separate things, even though they're not. They're right there like peanut butter and jelly. It's a sandwich in more ways than one. So understanding your existence, basing your existence on the truth. We all see that. We all saw that pastor going crazy, and that was some old shadow work on that joint. I'm like, man, that's my move. He doing my move. Oh man, we are in the shadow zone today, family. I apologize, but I can only be honest today. Learning how to base your existence on truth versus ignorance. So truth is basing my existence on my non-physical being. Ignorance is basing my existence on my physical body and the experiences, their lack thereof. So this is really tricky because you have a shadow. You have a shadow. And so let's do this in the chat room so we can understand this. I need to understand if you experience this or I'm the only person to experience this. Have you ever looked back in your life and thought, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, why would I even do that? Have that ever happened to you? Or am I the only person that has that ever happened to? Just a quick yes or no in the chat and then I'll continue. Okay, so if you ever was in that situation where you look back and you're like, what the fuck did I just do? But you did it though. You remember beforehand, during, after, you're like, yo, I literally just set out a plan, just flatten this dude's tires with a butter knife, and I did that shit. How the fuck did I flatten tires with a butter knife, fam? That don't even make sense. Like, what I'm saying is that that's all shadow. That's a part of you that will hijack your whole sense of, I got this under control, and say, no, the fuck you don't. You don't have shit under control. So the deeper reality is that if you never want to be in that situation again, if you don't want to have a negative situation, you have to integrate that part of you into your waking life. So because you're never really sure, right? If you have that experience and you can't control before, during, or after, and you knew you had no control over that, you knew you was about to do some stupid ass shit that might embarrass you, that might make you look stupid, but yet you did it. That's a spiritual sign that you do have a non-physical energy, because it's putting you in a place in life that you could only do one thing: submit to it. Because beforehand, your ego and your ignorance is ruling. It's like trying to swim in a pool that ain't got no water in it. Yes, you can dive into a pool that doesn't have no water in it, but that's stupid as hell. Meaning that you can get into a relationship without understanding consciousness, but that's stupid as hell. You literally swimming in a, like, you'll never, it's like exceptions to the rules. But in reference to you, in reference to the spiritual, in reference to you always needing readings, in reference to you pulling tarot cards and doing all of this shit, you might just need a pleasurable, blissful sexual experience. And then you will never even be thinking about them damn tarot cards. Oh, I gotta see what she's saying about Tauruses today. Yeah, Tauruses this day, y'all gonna meet a girl with a blonde hair, and you might get smacked on the ass this week, so be prepared with your mace. And also, you know, like, just weird shit, you know. Tauruses, you breaking up with your husbands this week, and I know that it's hard. Like, what? How is all Tauruses just breaking up with their husbands? But in everybody's mind, it works, because everybody is religion and everybody needs something, even if it's a perfect stranger pulling cards referencing information that don't have nothing to do with the cards, nothing to do with me. But in my mind, I'm religious as we would like them to be. Nobody is as ratchet as we imagine them to be, and our job is